Hey guys, Mike Goldstein here, Easy Dating Coach. I am so excited for today's interview. We have my favorite dating coach. This guy is the man. We've got Clayton Olson. Let me tell you about this guy. Clayton has been empowering individuals and couples from around the world to find harmony and authenticity in their relationships. With a background in professional coaching and neuro-linguistic programming, Clayton takes a holistic approach to carefully reconstructing what is truly possible for his clients. Through his work, he has revitalized relationships, brought together lost loves, and witnessed clients find their soulmates. Wow. Clayton's content has been seen on Fox News Magazine, Huffington Post, The Goodman Project, and even had an article featured on The View. Guys, I am so excited today. I've been trying to get this guy to do an interview for months, and we finally got him. This is so exciting. Clayton, thank you for coming.
Mike, thank you for that introduction. I'm very honored, and I love the enthusiasm. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. Clayton, first off, I've been dying to study this stuff, and I'm sure my viewers are really interested. Can you explain what linguistic programming is?
Yes. So neurolinguistic programming is a study of really peak communication. It was developed back in the 1970s by a guy named Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And they essentially modeled some of the best change workers in the field, therapists, people that were doing family therapy, coaches, and they created a way, they essentially modeled what they were doing and made a lot of the unconscious procedures that these people were naturally doing conscious, so they could teach it to other coaches and therapists, and they could really stand on the shoulders and use what worked and get rid of what didn't.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to hop right into it. And this is your expertise. How should women get ready to fall in love?
Well, that's a great question. And it's an important one because it's often overlooked by a lot of the clients and the women that I work with. See, if you don't understand why you want a relationship or why you want to fall in love, and you skip over this question, you can have all the tactics in the world. You can have even a pool of men that you're dating regularly, but you may find that those dates don't go anywhere, or your relationships seem to end over and over again, all with some type of similar theme. So something that I've said in the past is the reason that you get into a relationship determines the quality of it. So the why behind why you're actually wanting to fall in love determines the quality of the communication. It determines whether or not you are able to weather the fights that happen in the relationship, and whether or not really the relationship lasts. So I'll give you an example. If you want a relationship because you don't want to be lonely, that's a very different reason to get into a relationship than wanting a relationship because the relationship is a place where you can bring your best self to it. If you are wanting a relationship because you want financial security, or you want a relationship because all your friends are getting married, it's a very different reason than wanting a relationship because you want to build a connection with a man and be seen in a way where that your friends and family can't see you. And it gives you the opportunity to give something from your heart to somebody, right? Those are like night and day. And that simple little shift of really analyzing, are you getting into a relationship because of a fear of loss, because you're looking for the relationship to give you something that you don't have inside you? Or are you looking for a relationship because it's a platform for you to give something rather than take something from it? Just that shift can make the difference between whether your relationships last or whether they continue to fail over and over and over again. So one of the things that women can do to get ready for love is to really begin to ask the question, what is the purpose of a relationship for me in my life? What do I want to give to the relationship? Why do I really want this? And when you can examine that and start to consciously choose why you want a relationship, you can begin to set yourself up for success.
Clayton, Now, if we have a woman that is dating for maybe the wrong reasons, where she's trying to get something, maybe it's financial. Let's just use an example.
Yeah.
She needs a guy to help her financially. Is this woman ready to be in the dating pool? Or if there's any other reason for why she is dating, not to give, but to get,
Yeah.
should she be dating, or does she need to work on herself first?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's hard for me to say what she necessarily should be doing or shouldn't be doing. It's more about, what does she want? Does she want to actually create love and create something that lasts? Or does she just want to get in there and get some experience? And really, is she just fine having financial security from a guy at the cost of possibly a real connection? And if that's what she wants, I'm not going to tell her that she should be doing work on herself. If what she's wanting is a deep, powerful connection with a man that lasts, that has resilience and bandwidth to stand fights and disagreements and all the things that naturally come up in a relationship, yet the strategy or the reason she's getting into it is consistently causing her to sabotage those relationships, then that might be a sign that it's time to do some work on herself.
Man, I love that answer. That was great. What are some things women can be doing to ensure they have successful dates?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so diving right in. Yeah. And some of this advice, it's interesting because I give it to men as well. And the first thing is to really understand men from maybe a different perspective. I've done a survey in the past with all the guys on my mailing list, and I asked them, what is it that they want out of a relationship? Do they want to have sex with multiple women? Do they want to date hotter women? Do they want to be in a monogamous long-term relationship? Do they want to find the woman of their dreams? And out of I emailed this to several thousand people, and what I got back was 86% of men were either looking for a long-term relationship or they were looking to find their soulmate. And now I know that there's been other surveys out there that have yielded similar results. And I think what that speaks to is that men do want connection. Men do want to find and settle down with a woman that they see long-term potential with. And if you don't hold that as a belief in your mind and you're a woman and you go into the dating world and you believe that men only want sex and you're looking out for being used, you're looking out for men that are just wanting to use you for sex and actually don't want commitment, it actually ends up injecting on the woman's side the subtle level of fear into the dynamic between the two of you, where you're afraid that he doesn't actually want you, that he just wants sex. So there's ways that the woman naturally begins to protect herself. She holds back. She stops being vulnerable. She stops giving the guy the benefit of the doubt. She starts interpreting the guy's actions as through this lens or through this faulty belief that he doesn't want a long-term relationship. And it stops the connection. So one of the things that you can do to ensure a successful first date is to get rid of this belief that it's a very small number of men that actually want commitment, but rather it's the majority of men that really want a deep level of connection and commitment. Because from that place, then you can go into the interaction and you can realize that maybe you do want the same thing. And rather than thinking from a woman's standpoint that you've got to barter sex, your body, for commitment, which seems to be one of the a pretty normal paradigm that a lot of women are in, right? They think, okay, well, if I give him sex, I want the commitment. So here, I'm going to trade you sex, you give me the commitment, and then we'll be happy, which it doesn't align people on the same side. It makes it a power struggle. And if we can eliminate that power struggle by helping you believe that men do want actual connection with a woman, then just the overall approach to men is going to be more open. It's going to be more transparent. You might feel safer actually revealing your feelings and giving the guy the green light and really taking your foot off the brakes and really building a connection with a guy. So that's one way that a woman can begin to ensure a successful first date. And I know that was a mouthful. Does that all make sense?
That did make sense. I guess I'm curious.
Yeah.
So we've got the 86%, like you said, that are both 86% of men are looking for that connection, looking for a life partner.
Mm-hmm.
But are they going about the way they look for a life partner entirely different than women, or is it the same process?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think that, and I can speak from my personal experience, if we look at what men value, and this is from coaching clients that I've had in the past, as well as just even my own life, men put a very significant amount of value on freedom and on being able to pursue their purpose in life, make money, be a provider, and fulfill all these different things that it means to be a man culturally in the world. And because of that, sometimes the timing around when a man is actually where he feels worthy for a relationship happens a little bit later after he gets some other things checked off his list, like achieving some sense of financial security, feeling like he has some power or some status in the world. Because a belief that men have is that if they do enough, if they achieve enough, then they will be worthy of love. And if they don't do that, then their woman will leave them. And rather than having to deal with this insecurity of thinking that a woman might leave them if they're not doing, they put that off to the side and they work to put some type of, they work to quell this inner inadequacy of not being enough. Does that make sense?
That does. So I guess that kind of leads me to what I think every woman's dying to know, that if a man does not have his freedom and his financial security and felt like he's accomplished what he's needed to accomplish, like, how do you tell whether a guy is ready for love versus a guy who maybe is not ready?
Yeah, God, that's such a good question. Well, so the first, and this goes right back to the tips of ensuring a successful first date and even dates moving past the first date into a relationship. And I advise all women to really slow down and focus on the connection. Rather than focusing on necessarily qualifying the guy and asking all of the interview questions of trying to find out compatibility, but rather to really slow down and this might sound a little bit esoteric, but it's almost like you get into your body and you stop thinking with your mind and you start thinking with your heart, and you feel what's in the moment with this guy. And you allow a space and a receptivity within you so the guy feels drawn to volunteer information. He feels safe to reveal more about his intentions. He feels safe to answer questions that you've got where he's not going to feel judged. And just this idea of slowing down in the interactions will allow you to see things that are happening within the dating dynamic that you otherwise wouldn't see if you're stuck in your logical mind just trying to ask questions to figure out whether you're compatible or not. So that's one way to do it. And when you're slowing down, it really allows you to listen. And this is something that I tell everybody. If a guy says that he's not sure he's ready for a relationship, or that he's still got some feelings for his ex, or he's still recovering from his last breakup, listen to him. And don't try to convince him otherwise or chase him or be the one that suddenly gets him into a relationship. Because if the guy says that, believe him, which means that if you are not okay waiting, then don't wait and move on to the next one and respectfully decline hanging out further. Because if the guy's saying that, he's truly not ready. If he's ready and he sees you as a potential partner long-term, he's not going to say, I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship. He's just not going to do that. And that's the general rule of thumb. I'm sure there's some exceptions to the rule, but if you just follow that, you're going to stop wasting a lot of time and chasing guys that are actually emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because it really does change the stereotypical social dynamic that a man is supposed to be chasing a woman, and then that totally flips it on 180 degrees, and the woman's actually chasing the guy.
Yeah,
and that's not good. A woman should have her boundaries set and what she wants, very clear to herself and the guy. That, no, I want a guy who's all about me, going to make me feel special, and then let's see if all the compatibility and the chemistry is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And something you brought up that is really important to note too is when the woman is in this place of receptivity and allowing herself to be pursued by the guy, or at least allowing the guy to be the initiator in the interactions, right? Where she's standing her ground, not in this the sense of like pride, where the man may feel like he's going to get rejected by her, or where he's not good enough, but just holding her ground in the sense that she's giving him the green lights by smiling, talking about her life, asking questions, being curious about him, letting him know that there is an interest there, which gives this guy a sense that she does want to continue to talk with him and see him again. When she can do that, and when she can understand that guys are, depending on where he's at in his life and depending on how he feels about his work, how he feels about his finances, that she might not be his sole focus of attention, that there's other things that he might have to be doing in parallel. And if she can just not take that personally, because she can see that it's actually part of it's a pillar of his self-esteem for most men. It's a pillar of his identity, that he's on his purpose. If a woman can just, rather than take that personally and think that that she's not important enough to be number one, but that she's being balanced with his work and with his pursuits, she can end up supporting him rather than trying to make him choose between his life's purpose and the relationship.
I love that. Which kind of segues us into the next question I have for you. What are some common mistakes that women are making that are causing men to pull away or disappear?
Yeah, great. Well, I see women subconsciously and inadvertently compete with men and emasculate them accidentally. And that happens it happens when there is, it happens when the woman is not wanting to relinquish the role of being the initiator in the dating. When the woman is feeling like she needs to actively work and do things to keep the connection going, which ends up taking, if we look at it like this, there's room for feminine energy in the interaction, and there's room for masculine energy in the interaction. And if the woman moves over to the masculine energy and she's initiating and she's thinking about the next step and she's thinking about where this is going and she's wanting to get the next time nailed down, and what ends up happening is she starts competing with the guy over here for the masculine energy. And number one, the sexual charge and the polarity dissolves. And two, it starts to push the guy more into the receptive role, because in order for him to stay in the dynamic and stay connected to you, he actually has to move over to the feminine polarity and then respond from that. So he puts him on his heels, and the guy might not even be able to articulate this. That's what can be really interesting about this dynamic, is the guy can't even articulate this is happening, and suddenly he just doesn't feel it anymore and he stops initiating. So that's one way that men end up pulling away, is they just feel like they get declawed, defanged in a sense, and stop taking action in the relationship. And the woman thinks, okay, well, now he's not interested in me. Maybe I need to do something more to get him interested in me, which then just pushes him away further at that point. Another element that causes men to pull away in a relationship is when he begins to feel pressured by her. And pressured is when a guy feels pressured when suddenly a woman may be bringing her emotions to the interaction. Maybe there's a problem in her life. Maybe there's something that's happening within her. And as she's expressing that, the guy feels like he is incapable of fixing or saving her from her emotions. Typically, when a woman presents her emotions to a man, his first instinct is to solve a problem. And if the woman doesn't let him know that it's okay to not solve the problem or to not have to come in with a solution, then the guy will try to come in and manage her in a way. He'll try to come in and try to fix things. And if he can't do that, it just becomes overwhelming and he'll shut down and back away from the relationship. Another way, the more obvious way that men feel pressure in dating, is when the woman is taking the initiative and suddenly he's got this expectations on him where he has to have answers about where it's going. and what the next interaction is going to be like, and what are we? Those are other ways that men begin to feel pressured too.
Now, let's say the man does disappear. What should women do when he's not texting, not calling? What's her best play of action?
Yeah. So it is context dependent. It depends on when it really happens within the interaction. If it happens in the beginning and the guy disappears, she's got to really take an inventory about whether or not they really had a connection. If they really did have a connection and suddenly he drops off, it is important to have a innocent until proven guilty mindset, right? So rather than assuming that this guy has lost interest and he doesn't want anything to do with her anymore, and suddenly her defenses go up and she responds from that place, she responds from the place of maybe genuine curiosity about what happened, if he's okay. She hasn't seen him a bit, maybe even some vulnerability. Hey, I really enjoyed talking with you, and I'm wondering what happened. And that is okay to do. That being able to express your emotions rather than hide behind some type of defense is a way that we as people are able to eliminate the game playing that naturally comes up in the dating world. Games come as a result of one or both parties not being vulnerable with where they're at. So that's one way to initiate and possibly rekindle the connection if the guy is not texting. If he doesn't respond or his respond is lackluster at that point, I don't encourage women to pursue it at that point any further, but really to move on to the next one, because the only thing that's going to happen is if she begins to pursue, is she moves even more into the masculine role, he moves more into the receptive role, and it just ends up being a waste of time more times than not.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and if it happens later in the relationship, if they actually have got a connection and the guy pulls away, again, an innocent until proven guilty mindset. And it's important to understand why men might pull away in the relationship as well. And, John Gray talks about this in his book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, where men pull away really to get perspective sometimes. And they pull away because the emotions that they might be feeling within the connection can get so intense that, in my words, it almost can short circuit the guy's neurology. And in order for him to reset, he's got to pull away in order to get perspective and see what's actually happening, find his center, build up the desire, and then come back in. And who the woman is in the face of the man pulling away, how the woman shows up, how she decides to react to him pulling away, communicates so much to him about her value, about how she sees herself and her self-esteem. So the more that she can be poised, the more that she can allow and understand that men are naturally going to do this, they call it fractionation, where you're moving in and then you're moving out. You're moving in and moving out. And the more that a woman can see that is a natural part of the courting process and necessary for a man's emotional wiring, she can have a greater sense of acceptance around it and not take it personally, which then communicates to the man that she is a high value woman that believes in herself and believes in her value, which makes her that much more attractive to him. And he'll want to come back in and move the relationship forward, maybe even deeper.
Wow. That was a phenomenal answer. That might have been my favorite answer you've given all interviews. I loved every second of that. Ladies, that was it. All right. Next question. All right, this is a loaded question. So good luck.
All right.
What do men really want in a female partner?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so I've got an article that I wrote a while back, and I really believe that it captures this. I say a woman needs to be able to play her cards correctly. CARDS. And CARDS is an acronym for a man needs to feel challenged. A man needs to feel a sense of awe when he's with the woman. Moments of it. A man needs to feel respected. He needs to feel desire, and he needs to feel desired. And then lastly, a man needs to feel emotionally safe in the relationship. So I'll just speak to each of those briefly. The challenged one. Many women misinterpret this idea when they hear a guy needs to feel challenged. They think, okay, so I'm going to play some games and I'm going to act like I'm more unavailable than I really am. And I'm going to be a challenge for him. Really, if you're just focusing, if being challenging is playing games, that's actually not being authentic. So it undercuts your success. How you show up as a challenge for a man is by having values. It's by having a certain code or level of integrity that you hold yourself to that the man can see and respect. And maybe it even calls forth the guy to step up his game and be a better, more emotionally available man who's leading the relationship in order to be with you. And one way that a woman can do this is just by having values and boundaries around when she sleeps with a guy, around how she's talked to, whether if there's sudden comments where the guy insults her or there's something that's rubbing her the wrong way, to speak her mind, have some boundaries, not in a way that's necessarily attacking him or making him wrong, but just being able to assert herself in a gentle, compassionate way. These are the things that help a man see that he's really dating somebody who knows who she is and has value around her identity, which makes her that much more attractive and calls the man to step up and be bigger than him, even maybe bigger than who he thinks he is, to date this woman. Okay, so that's the challenge.
Wait, can I stop you for one
Yeah.
second?
Yeah.
Sorry, I love how you talk about the challenge, and so I need an example because this is so important. When a woman feels insulted, how can she tell a man without just turning off and messing up the whole situation?
Yeah, great. So again, an innocent until proven guilty mindset. And to realize that if a guy insults you, one, it actually may be a sign that he likes you. And typically what happens is when a guy insults a woman, sometimes he's trying to flirt. He's trying to tease. He's trying to create some tension. There's a lot of literature out there for men in the dating world about creating tension by giving maybe some backhanded compliments or teasing. And sometimes guys just don't know what they're doing and they get nervous. And when they get nervous, their prefrontal cortex shuts down. They're not thinking logically. They're not really connected to you, and they may say something and put their foot in their mouth. So if you realize that maybe behind the insult, he's actually trying, he's maybe feeling insecure, or he's actually trying to connect with you just with a strategy that's not working, you can have a little bit more compassion around it. So then you can bring it up to him and you can use words like, hey, listen, I know it's probably not your intention, but when you said this, I felt X, Y, Z. I know it wasn't your intention, but when you said, when you mentioned this, I kind of felt like it was a little bit of a jab, and my feelings got hurt. And I just wanted to clear that up with you because I respect you enough to not want to hold on to that and make up some story about it that's not true. So what did you mean by that? And ask for clarity, right? So it's like you're letting the guy off the hook, but you're still confronting the issue in a way where you're honoring yourself.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, tell us about A now. The
Yes.
A cards.
Yeah. So a man needs to feel awe. And when I say awe, the reason, let's talk about this awe element. So a guy is, in our society, men typically grow up unable and they don't have permission to express the full spectrum of emotions that women are allowed to express. Guys grow up with things like, you need to man up, or, wipe that tear away, or the only thing that you can actually, pain, what is it? Pain is fear leaving the body or something, or pain is weakness leaving the body. So being vulnerable and being anything other than strong, proud, aggressive is considered not manly. And because of this, there is this emotional pressure that builds up in a man. And what a woman can offer a man in a relationship is actually an outlet and the territory for him to experience other types of emotions that he may not have experienced since he was a kid before he got conditioned into being a man. So in a relationship with a woman who is emotionally available and who is able to go first with her emotions, meaning she is able to be vulnerable and she's able to express these things and show that she, by the way, this is going to the next one, shows that she respects him and that she's not trying to emasculate him. The guy gets to experience and maybe express emotions like weakness, emotions like compassion and love in a way where he feels safe enough to do that. And there is this sense of, this is deep now, there's a sense of coming home and this reclaiming of himself that he gets when he's with a woman that is emotionally available. And see, this is what women, the feminine, truly can offer to a guy. And it falls outside looks, it falls outside age, it falls outside all of these traditional things that media would have you believe that men are really attracted to and men actually want. I mean, really, men are looking for this feminine container for them to feel safe enough to experience more of who they are in it. And that's this idea of awe. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. So moving on to respect. And all of these kind of overlap a little bit, right? So when a woman can make a man feel respect, I mean, I think they even had it in the Bible that men want respect over love. And so it's in a lot of literature that men value respect over love. And it's worth repeating because it's so important. That if a man feels respected by a woman, it allows him to let down his guards. It allows him to feel adequate for her. And when he feels like he is adequate, he will then, that is the gateway into him being more emotionally available and truly being the kind of guy that's going to walk through fire for her when he knows he's got her respect and admiration. So that's another thing that he needs. And it's something that a woman can do, is looking out for areas where she can maybe even compliment him, bring words to something that he's doing that she respects about him, which is just, it's like filet mignon for his soul.
Interesting. So is respect in this context a synonym for being accepted?
Ooh, that's great. I would say that there's a massive overlap there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. There's it is, I think respect comes with acceptance, and there may be a little bit of an addition on there where there is perhaps the word admiration is also married to the word respect. There's a level of like really actually seeing the man, accepting him, and being able to say, wow, like the way that you're living your life, the man that you are, the character behind your actions is someone that I look up to, or there's qualities in you that I would love to have in me, or there's qualities in you that I see that you might not see completely yet. And I'm willing to say those so you can believe more in who you are. Yeah, great question.
Awesome.
And then should I move to desire?
Yes, please.
Okay. So a man needs to feel desire, and a man feels desire when he is able to pull away in the relationship and then come back in. So if the woman is able to stand her ground and have a strong sense of identity and not panic about the guy pulling away, he gets to pull back, build up a little bit of desire, and then come back in. And he also feels desire when he is with a woman who is able to challenge him, a woman who is able to stand for her own values. He also feels desire when a woman is able to be in her femininity and be vulnerable and express her emotions. Those all create desire in a man. And he needs to feel desired in the sense that he knows that you really want him sexually, that you really want him to penetrate you physically, emotionally, and spiritually, that you want to surrender yourself to him. Now, granted, that's not something that you would necessarily do in the beginning of dating somebody, but as the relationship progresses, ultimately, he's looking for a woman that can truly give herself to him and that he can give himself to as well.
So Clayton, You said challenge. Now, what happens when a woman, or excuse me, you're in a relationship and you go and have a magical long weekend together, or maybe a week-long vacation. You're in the Caribbean having a fantastic time. You just connected on so many levels, both sexually, emotionally, just built this fantastic foundation for a week and got so much closer to each other. And then right when you get home, all of a sudden the man goes into work mode and just disappears for a few days. No contact, nothing. Should the woman challenge him?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Do you know, I've been that guy. I have absolutely been that guy. And here's what's fascinating. So just to give the women that are watching this some perspective, I didn't even know I was doing that. I didn't even know that I was violating the connection that I had with her when I went into work mode. I was operating under this assumption that we hung out and connected so deeply that I needed to get some space and I needed to go into work mode. And I didn't really see the impact that that was having on my girlfriend. And she should absolutely challenge him. Challenge him from a place, again, of innocent until proven guilty. So what it might look like, rather than maybe the word challenge is, it's got some, perhaps it's got its own symbology attached to it. The word would be bring attention to, right? Bring attention to the impact that it has on her. So the woman can contact him and say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you about something. When we had this great connection over the week, and then you disappeared, I felt a little bit abandoned. And I know that wasn't your intention, right? And now that takes some vulnerability, that takes some courage. But see, if the woman is afraid to actually express what's in her heart because she's afraid to lose the power in the relationship, then you're in this dynamic of thinking the relationship is a power struggle, and it's not going to last, or it's going to be one hell of a rocky road and tumultuous. So if she can have the courage to express the vulnerability within her of, yeah, I felt a little bit abandoned, I felt a little bit hurt, and I know that wasn't your intentions, but what I really need from you is I need to know that you still want me. I need to know that even after this big vacation, that you're still connected to me. Because when you leave like that, I start making up these stories that you don't want to be with me anymore. And I don't want to do that. And what that does is it allows the man to see his actions in the relationship more clearly. It allows him to see himself more clearly. What she does by expressing her vulnerability is she puts the mirror up to him and says, hey, my man, buddy, I love you. And this is the impact that when you go unconscious and you start going into work mode, here is the consequences, or here is the impact that it has on me. And I want to let you know what I need and bring more consciousness to this. So you may have more consciousness around it if it happens again, and can choose differently if what you want is to continue to love and build this connection.
Wow. That was my awe moment. Another awe moment. That
Beautiful.
Was a good answer.
Beautiful. Yeah. And a lot of this happens. I mean, guys just don't know. Guys have their head up their asses, right? I mean, one of men's strengths is having blinders on, right? Is being able to move forward in life and just go from point A, point B, create, build the empire, make money, focus with friends. I mean, that's how men's minds operate. And because of that, there's going to be some fallout sometimes because we're not able to see the bigger picture. So when a woman can see that her value can help a man see the bigger picture of his life and see the bigger picture of the moment and compassionately usher him into that, holy crap. The guy's life opens up, and that's how he becomes a better man. He becomes a better man when he's with you.
Wow, fantastic. So Clayton, let's move on to S. What's S?
Yes, S is the man needs to feel safe. And when I say safe, if she's got a black belt in Taekwondo, that's great, but that's not what I'm talking about. Emotionally safe. The man needs to feel safe that he can express his truth to her, that he can express when he's feeling disappointed. He can express when he's feeling weak. He can express when he's feeling inadequate or like he's failing, maybe at his work. Because Brene Brown writes about vulnerability, and she's got a quote. I'm not going to say it exactly, but she says something to the effect of that we connect not through our strengths, but that we connect through our weaknesses. And the more safe a man feels in the relationship, the more he will feel free to bring those weaknesses, which every man has. He can bring all those weaknesses to the relationship and have those accepted by the woman, which then when she's able to accept him in his weakest moment, he can begin to accept himself in his weakest moment because he's got a model for it. And ironically, that's exactly what, and I'm not saying that women should be a man's therapist or a coach necessarily, but this is why people get coaching and therapy sometimes, is because there's parts of themselves that they haven't accepted. And when they have someone else that's able to sit across from them and witness them in a certain state and accept them just the way they are, the shields, the blocks, the looping thoughts in your mind of not being able to love yourself begin to deteriorate and fall away. And that's the power of a relationship, is that the man can begin to accept himself more in the relationship with her, and which makes him feel more love. And when he feels more love for himself when he's with you, you become irreplaceable. So that's the importance of safety. And how a woman can make a man feel safe is by actually going first emotionally, by being able to have the courage to express her weak sides in the relationship. Because, see, a woman has more practice with the expression of emotions than a man does. And because of that, there's a level of emotional mastery that she's closer to than a man. And a man may need a model for that and need to know that it's okay. So that's a way that a woman can begin to lead in the realm of emotions and foster this environment for him to feel safe.
Wow. I think we have to end on this note, because the card thing is probably one of the best things I've heard in the last 10 years about dating and relationships. And I think everyone can tell why I was so excited to interview Clayton. I mean, this guy is an absolute genius. And if you made it this long and listened to this entire interview, I think hopefully your life has changed, because I know me just learning from him in this hour, my life has changed, and I'm going to implement in my relationships, both with my girlfriend and with friends and family. I'm going to start using all this stuff because this is magnificent. So once again, this was a fantastic interview. Clayton, thank you so much for being here. We do have some really cool news. I know Clayton is actually going to give away something for free, which is amazing that he would even do that. So Clayton, why don't you explain what our audience can get?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mike. And your words, they touch me. I really appreciate just you seeing me and having me on the show and listening and asking really intelligent questions. It's been a pleasure. And the free gift that I have for people is for the last several years, I've actually been helping both men and women recover from breakups, and also in many cases, go back in and be able to fix the relationship and create a new foundation and build together. And over the course of those years, I distilled and boiled out 8 gems, 8 secrets to create a rock solid relationship that I've put into a PDF that is on my website at ClaytonOlsonCoaching.com, Olson with an O. And this guide will give you 8 principles that are the foundational elements that when you've got these in place in a relationship with a man or a woman, they allow you to really be in it for the long haul. Imagine it as they are it's the lighthouse through the fog. When you keep these things in mind as you're moving forward, it's going to make what would be massive challenges turn into minor speed bumps along the way. So check it out, ClaytonOlsonCoaching.com. And if you've got any questions, you can always email me as well. My contact's on my website too.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you so much. That was awesome. And we will see everybody next time.